Hi, welcome to this SQL tutorial video, and today we're going to look at the in statement. This video will also touch on between, distinct, like, and it will also discuss subqueries, but mainly we're going to try and focus on the in statement. So let's begin with the statement on screen here. This statement is using between, and as I've said in the previous video, between allows you to put the start and end of a range, and it will do a search based on this range against a particular column. So in here what we're doing is we're saying return these columns from this table where the sum and value column, the value in the sum and val column is between 3 and 5, inclusive of the 3 and the 5. So really we're saying show me everything where the sum and val is 3 or 4 or 5, and there's the results. Between accepts a range. So if I change this to be 4 and 5, then it's only going to accept 4 and 5. But if I change that to be 4 and 8, then it's going to be anything between 4 and 8. So you can see there's a 7 in there. So it's a range inclusive of the start and the end values. And you've got to be mindful of the data type in your column. So this is a numeric column, so that's fine. I can use this here. If I do it for the date column, then I can do it within dates, but I've got to use dates. So if I do that, we're now getting values where the date is within that date range. So that's fine, that's between. However, sometimes it might be that you don't have a range, you've just got seemingly random values that you need to find. So let's just go back to our sum and val, and let's imagine that we don't want to return everything that's between 3 and 5. We want to return everything that is either 1 or 4 or 8, and in order to do that we need to use in. And the way we write an in statement is we put in like that following our column, and then we put brackets, and within the brackets we put a list of the items that we're interested in searching for. So in this case it's 1, 4, 8, comma separated. And although when you say it out loud you say 1 and 4 and 8, you don't need to put the ands. It is simply comma separated. 1, comma 4, comma 8. It's just a list separated by commas. And if I run that, we'll now get values where the sum and value is 1, or it's 8, or 4, or it's 8. And I can have as many as I like in here. I can't put a range in here. I can't put 1 to 4. If I wanted to do that with using in, I'd have to put 1, comma 2, comma 3, comma 4. But this is just a list that you put within the brackets, and it will do the search for. So this is a numeric column, so I'm putting numbers within the brackets. But if I did ft date, I could just as easily put a date in here, and then comma separate another date, and it will return anything where the date is one of these two. So it's not a range, it is just two specific values. So it's important to understand that within the brackets is a list, and it can be as big as you want it to be. So let me just now show you kind of the power of the in statement. So let me change this to be the type column, and let us now change this to be sorcery, instant, enchantment. And if I run that, we're going to get anything where the type is instant or enchantment or sorcery. And that's fine. However, maybe I want to be a little bit more kind of clever with this. So bearing in mind that between the brackets it expects a list. So with that in mind, I'm just going to write another query here I just write that query, you can see now we're getting everything from the table where the type has the word ooze in. Now, with that set of results, if I just choose distinct ft type, that's going to now just, in fact, if I just take the distinct off for a second, that's just going to return me the single column. And if I put distinct in there, this is going to return me just the unique value from that column based on that condition. So there are 5 entries where the type has the word ooze in. Now, with that, I can, if I wanted to, I could take those values now and copy them into my in statement, and that would work a treat. So it's a bit slow, that's the problem, that's a bit of an issue, but it will work. So if I do that and I highlight that SQL, I've got 38 rows. But fine. However, this is a list, and the fact that it's a list means you can use it within those brackets. So if I just copy that, or cut it rather, and instead of me typing a list, if I just type the SQL that creates a list, I'm just going to tap that across. If I now run this, there's the 38 rows. And what the SQL is doing is it's running this outer query where the FT type is in the result of this inner query, this nested query here. And that's really good, because now if in future there is another type with ooze, a 6th type, this will pick it up because it's running this select to build the list dynamically. So if we add a 6th, this will pick it up, and it will in turn alter the values in the main query. But also what's cool is, if I thought, you know what, I'm not interested in ooze anymore, I'm interested in vampire. Well, all I need to do is change ooze to be vampire, and if I run that, there's all the values where the type has the word vampire in, because it's running this select to get a list in order to populate and execute the outer statement. One last thing to note, I don't need to have distinct in here. I could just run it fine. It doesn't, this here, if I just run this, I want to get a lot of duplicates here, but that it doesn't matter. As long as it's a single row being returned in here, that's all that SQL needs. If I return a second column as part of this nested select, so if I do the, I'll just stick distinct back in. So if I run this select now and it returns 2 columns, that's no longer a single list. This is 2 lists, and it breaks the SQL because it doesn't know which column to look at in order to use for the list data. So if I run that whole thing, I want to get a message saying you can only have one expression in this subquery. So I'll take out that, run that, and there it is. That's the end of this tutorial. I hope it was helpful, interesting. Any feedback would be appreciated. Thanks for your time. See you next time.